people like Hewitt, they would say there was a switch in tone yesterday.
I'd love to know what they thought it was. I really would.
That paragraph that I cited to you.
Yeah.
Where he said that after this is all done. By the way, I think that that's a perfectly plausible policy.
I don't think that
the
printed with the audience.
I think that may very well be true. But it is a very plausible policy. The left always wants to talk about what happens to the 11 million illegal immigrants who are already here. And I think that everybody should understand that that is second priority to we have to stop the illegal immigration that continues to flow into the country.
Secure the border has been a chant of the conservative movement and of people that care about national security and immigration in the United States. But Trump is the one that came along and said build the wall.
Right, and by the way, it is not, I will say, it is not an urgent matter. It is not a deeply urgent matter that we give legal status to people who are here illegally. They've been living here illegally for 20 years, 40 years.
He said last night, there was a point in the speech, and we'll take our break there, where he said that immigration, he characterized it as really the only really important issue. There was something like that at the end.
That was the Ann Coulter line, right? At the very end, he says, if Hillary's elected, she's going to amnesty everybody, and we're never going to have a chance to take on this issue ever again. That's been Ann Coulter's line the whole time. I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah, there's a reason
line.
Ann Coulter's not president. So, you know what I mean?
Sure, but there is some truth to the idea that if Hillary Clinton were to amnesty 11 million illegal immigrants and then they were to create some pathway to citizenship for these people, and that you suddenly have 7 million new Democratic voters in all of that, it makes it almost impossible for Republicans to win an election again. That's one of the main concerns here.
We thank you for joining us on The Morning Answer for a Thursday. We'll include some of your calls, 855-785-8255. Lots of reaction to Trump and a new Fox News poll that shows on this Thursday some movement in the race for the presidency. We'll detail it for you as we continue. It's 6:21. On The Morning Answer for a Thursday, Ryan, Van, Alicia, and Jen. Donald Trump, according to a Fox News poll, it's out this morning, so I assume that it obviously was done before yesterday's news events concerning Trump with his immigration speech last night and the press conference with the president of Mexico. But nonetheless, the poll shows Donald Trump narrowing the gap, I should say, between Hillary Clinton and himself. Hillary with 48%. Support to Trump's 42%. That's a 6-point gap, but it's less than the 10-point spread in the same poll earlier this month. So it shows improvement for Trump. On the immigration issue, the poll has some interesting findings. It shows that 3 in 4 voters, that'd be 75%, right, say they support a system for undocumented immigrants to become legal residents and not be deported. That kind of flies in the face of what Trump talked about last night. Hillary, in this poll, leads among her core groups, like non-whites and women. Donald Trump performing better among white men and whites without a college degree. So that's the latest from the Fox News poll this morning on a Thursday.
And unfortunately, the electoral map, I mean, there was a piece in NRO a couple days ago by Tim Alberta that talks about, like, what path would it take for Trump to get to this 270. And geographically, even though he might be ticking up in these national polls, we have to look at the states just like we did during the primaries, because the electoral map kind of adds up in that way. And a lot of states that Mitt Romney won, Trump is losing in. And even in places like Ohio, where Romney won huge, or as Trump would say, bigly, with independents, Trump's doing pretty well with independents there, but not even as many as Romney. And even Jen pointed out the other day, the Romney camp thought in states like Michigan and Ohio, their key to winning would be to win those independent voters. And it didn't work for them then.
They won them, but it wasn't enough.
Exactly. And I think really the problem that both Hillary and Donald Trump will have this election cycle is just voter fatigue and voter burnout and not that much turnout.
Well, here's the thing about these polls. Whenever the media report these things, they'll say things like Trump surging, Trump closes gap. Trump didn't do anything. Okay, Trump's at 39%. Guess where he's been for the last 6 months? 39%.
Well,
okay.
In fairness, he's at 42 in this poll.
Okay, well, 42. Okay, what have I said? What was my number? The one that I said that he would never break?
42.
42 or 43.
42%, right? That's right. So he has not moved at all. He does not move. Hillary Clinton just declines.
And the unfavorable...
Hillary closes the gap the other way.
The unfavorables on both of these candidates continue to rise. So we'll include a phone call here, reaction to Donald Trump's speech last night on immigration. And if you want to take some analysis toward the press conference with the president of Mexico, you're free to do that. Eric in Van Nuys, welcome to The Morning Answer. Hi, Eric. Thanks for holding. What did you think of Trump yesterday?
I think it's a really, really very good policy, because it's really more of like deportation by attrition, because you do want to take a little bit some time, because like maybe after 5 years, after you got rid of all the the criminals and people taking welfare, then maybe you could give like amnesty. So that's very good.
He didn't say that though, but he didn't say that last night.
No, but he didn't have to say it. But what I'm saying is, if you read through the policy, it's very systematic. Like you deport little smaller segments of different segments, of small segments. So within the 5 years, you may have like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 million that you don't really mind if you give them amnesty.
Okay, Eric, thanks for the phone call. To me, that's Eric reflects part of the problem. People this morning are left to connect the dots for themselves on the policy here last night.
Well, that's what he was trying to do. That's what he was trying to do. He would have been better off just making a clear pivot and making a clear switch. That said, the rest of his speech, and the media is going to focus in on the 2 points. It really comes down to 2 points of contention. One, did he lie about Nieto saying that he wouldn't pay for the wall? And two, is he actually flipping on the 11 million? Those are the issues that the media are focusing in on. They're ignoring the fact that he didn't blow up the world when he went down to Mexico, which for him is a win.
Well, early in the day, that was the coverage.
Right,
I mean, yesterday, midday was all about that.
And second, the vast majority of his speech last night had nothing to do with the 11 million people who are here. It talked about border enforcement, and it talked about what we're going to do with criminal aliens, and it talked about E-Verify. It was about one paragraph, but that was the paragraph everybody was looking at because of the week-long foreshadowing of the giant pivot that was supposed to come.
All right, as we continue here on The Morning Answer, downtown Los Angeles, ready for some digital billboards. They will change your life. It's 6:30.
Welcome to your Morning Answer with Brian Whitman, Ben Shapiro, and Alicia Krause.
Thank you for joining us on The Morning Answer for a Thursday. Brian, Van, Alicia, and Jen. Some people don't like digital billboards in Los Angeles because they are flashing and there's a brightness to them and the types of messages can change, and just some people don't like it. Feels like Vegas. Down at LA Live, you'll see some of these digital signs and whatnot. Governor Brown is going to decide if downtown LA gets big digital billboards. The city council might have an opportunity to weigh in, though, on the final word. I know there are opponents of these digital billboards because, like I say, they're down sort of in the LA Live area, and we're going to wait and see if Governor Brown would reject it or allow it. The existing billboard advertising around LA Live has made that area more vibrant, according to some, and there are many who want to expand signage to a wider area, kind of along the freeways there by the 10 and the 110 freeways. So,
if it's along the freeway, I don't see why it's a big deal. The real objection to the big digital signs is typically that they're extraordinarily bright, and that means
They
that
bother residents.
Right. So if you have an apartment and it faces some of these billboards, then all of a sudden you're getting the rotating ads every 5 seconds blasting through your window.
Try sleeping.
Right, exactly. But if they're not facing residential areas, or if they're away from residential areas, I don't see what the objection would be. And I wonder why it's a Governor Brown issue. Why is it a Governor Brown issue as opposed to a local issue?
Well, they say that it's an assembly bill, so that's why it's being dealt with in Sacramento. It would require digital billboards to conform to whatever sign ordinance the city council would eventually pass. So that's why I said a moment ago, the LA City Council could still have the final word.
Right,
on all
it's
of this.
just it's a weird piece of legislation. Like, why wouldn't that already be the case? Why do you have to pass a piece of legislation saying that the city rules where the city already rules?
Yeah, I understand that.
It's bizarre from
Because our
a
city
legal
council
perspective.
is ridiculous.
Well, because the state is ridiculous, and they
That's
feel the
true.
need to get involved in everything. Meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick says that he's going to sit out the national anthem again, except he's doing it at this Military Appreciation Day.
Oh, that's going to be a hard thing to do. That's
Pretty
gonna be a
much the
tough-
most patriotic game
Not hard
of
for
the
him,
year.
he's a dummy. And when I say he's a dummy, the reason I say he's a dummy is because these were the socks that he was wearing at practice over the past few weeks.
All right, you're showing
They have
us.
an
Can you see
American
this?
flag on them?
Does it appear? They appear blue, and it looks like a bulldog. Is that what
That's
that
not
is?
a bulldog, that's a pig.
Is that a pig? Okay.
And that's a pig with a cop hat on.
Oh no! Oh yeah, that's not good.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, yes.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
That's so tacky.
Shows a pig in a cop's hat. Yeah, that's what he's been wearing to practice the last few weeks.
So that debunks my conspiracy theory that I had yesterday with a few girlfriends. I actually wondered if he's just such a dum-dum, because most sports guys kind of are. Like, you hear them do interviews. Ryan Lochte,
He ain't Phi
perfect
Beta
example.
Kappa, yeah, I mean-
Exactly.
I thought Kaepernick was fairly
But
articulate.
when you hear most people do interviews, from Tom Brady to Ryan Lochte to whoever, I was like, maybe he just missed the national anthem and then didn't realize he was supposed to stand, and then tried to turn it into this whole race thing to cover up how dumb he was. But the fact that he was wearing those socks means that it was totally like a Black Lives Matter political
Well, and I think
statement.
Colin Kaepernick, quarterback, by the way, for the 49ers, I think he's made it pretty clear that for the remainder of the season, he's not gonna stand for the national anthem. This is a guy who certainly has. I'll give you the other side. He certainly seems to have the courage of his convictions. Whether you agree with him or not is a different issue.
So apparently John Legend has said that he's also going to do this, but John Legend probably won't have to worry about this as much because all of the fancy events that he goes to, I highly doubt that they even play the national anthem there or open up with a prayer.
Well, he's a musician, so
You think at all the Grammy red carpets they're opening with a
No,
a
they're not.
Exactly.
That's
So
right.
he's going to have less opportunity. It's kind of and anyway. And Ben is right. I mean, I've never watched ESPN because I'm not a sports person, but it's like MSNBC but sports talk over there.
Yes, well, the ESPN is MSNBC with football, and so so ESPN, the way that they've covered Colin Kaepernick is as an intellectual hero. He's really a Muhammad Ali type. And Muhammad
what
Ali
Spike Lee
himself
said
was
the
being,
other day.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, by the way, was being played by the Nation of Islam all throughout that part of his career. But at least Muhammad Ali had the credibility to stand on Jim Crow at the time. Colin Kaepernick doesn't have the credibility to stand on that. And what kind of jerk wears socks that depict cops as pigs?
It's disgusting.
What a nasty guy. What a bad guy. I mean, really, that's gross.
It looked to me, yeah, it does. That's what it looks like.
It's how CBS News is covering it.
Is that how
so,
they're covering
yeah.
it? Yeah, it's in poor taste, obviously, to say the least. Hey, has anybody on this program? I don't think anyone's been to an LA Rams game. We've had some exhibition games preseason. The Rams have played a handful of games at the Coliseum in August. They'll be moving to a new stadium, of course, in 2019 in Inglewood. But according to a report, the site has not always been pretty. People have documented some vicious fighting that has sprung up at the LA Rams games. And according to a lawsuit, the city is providing an illegal gift by allowing LAPD to work security at the LA Rams games. I have to say, I didn't think that the LA Rams had a more significant than other teams' security issue, but I'm learning that maybe they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why their security issues are more significant than just because
Football attracts a different kind of crowd than some other
well,
sports.
that is, I mean, I guess the old Raiders fans are coming back and they're going to start occupying the seats.
That's what
at
it
the
sounds
Rams
like.
games.
Doesn't it sound like that?
I hope not.
I do get that impression. The Rams, by the way, again, I know everybody is very excited about the Rams, but I've still yet to locate the person who's very excited about the Rams.
The media says everybody's really excited, but you haven't come across that person in real
Yeah, I
life.
mean, it's anecdotal.
That's just because you're antisocial.
Well, it's anecdotal to be fair, but have you come across anybody who's like, I can't wait for the Rams to play this season?
No, but none of my friends are into sports.
Okay, but Brian, have you?
Do I know anyone who's really into the Rams?
Yeah.
I have to say I know one guy, but he's a really kind of disproportionate football fan.
Right, so I think
He's
that-
an outlier, as we'd say in political
Most
bowling.
people who watch football casually are people who are happy to watch it on TV.
Yeah, that's right.
So this idea that, we have the Rams here now, that makes such a difference in our lives.
But you know, one thing you have to say is people are going to these games. People are going to the
We don't know
Rams
that
games.
yet. I mean,
well, the preseason games have been well attended.
yeah, I mean, it's a football game. Of course, it's going to be well attended.
Well, but that's been the problem in the past, right? That people didn't support teams we had.
Well,
Wasn't that the
we'll
problem?
find out when there's a local blackout on Rams games.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was always the problem. They blacked out the Rams games, and then people were like, okay, well, I'd rather have them play out of state, and then I don't
So
have
I
to
can
pay
watch
the
it.
taxes, right?
This lawsuit we mentioned a moment ago was brought by the former councilman Dennis Zine, who's a good guy. I like Dennis Zine. He was also a police officer.
Well, the police officer part. I was going to say, if you think he's a good guy,
Dennis Zine is a good guy. No, you'd like him too.
thank you for your service, Dennis.
He filed a lawsuit against the city this Wednesday. He says that because they provide LAPD officers for the games for securities, that would be an illegal gift of public funds, reporting from the LA Times, putting it that way. So, look, I mean, I think
Does that mean that the Rams are going to reimburse us?
I think that's the problem.
And how is that
Apparently
any different?
not.
And how is that any different? And if they're are they really providing security just to the Rams, like members and employees and team people, or are they actually providing security for the general public that's also going? I
Well,
mean,
the
cops
Rams
are always at.
Yeah, the Rams
At games.
have declined to comment, but Mayor Garcetti said this week that the city is asking the Rams to help cover the cost of policing around the stadium. Look, this is one of the issues this is why LA is
should
such a...
cover the cost.
Well, you would think that in all of the debates and conversations we had about bringing a team back, this would be one of the things that was discussed in those meetings.
Yeah, we never have these discussions until later because it was more important that Eric Garcetti get his big triumph of having a team come in here, and then we have to pick up the bill later. That's usually how these politicians do it.
And
They
how
don't
do we
tell you
not
what
know
the
that
cost-
was the case?
We didn't know that was the case. We were saying, some of us were saying that at the time. Others of us were saying, oh, it's so great that the NFL's coming. And meanwhile, Governor Jerry Brown and the Democrats have announced that they're now going to spend $900 million they raised in revenue from their failing climate program. So they've apparently moved swiftly to approve the plan, which is a long-sought deal proclaimed on the final day of the 2016 legislative session.
So we're talking about almost $1 billion here?
Yes. And so under the cap-and-trade program, polluters were required to buy permits for the greenhouse gases they emit.
Yep.
We now broadly define polluters to include people who have carbon emissions. And they want to spend the money, but it's unclear how the money is going to be spent. So I'm still trying to figure. It looks like a program offering rebates to help low-income Californians buy cleaner cars. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
You know, some of the times those cleaner cars are also less safe. So are they trying to kill poor Californians?
Well, I mean, forget that. I mean,